So that we come with joyfulness, we come with wisdom built in, we come with our compass going due north, and it's only when we get over to certain magnetic fields that our compass and we lose our way.
Hi again, everybody. This is Heartbeat, the podcast, featuring insights from the more than 50 years of work put together by Landon Saunders. On today's episode, we're joining Landon as he is visiting with a group of professional service providers located in Vancouver, British Columbia. The topic is joy. Now, here again is Landon Saunders.
We subtitled this, Beyond Self-Improvement to Life Involvement. That's why we're doing this first session this way. We're talking about a way for you not to miss your own life as you become better at what you do, as you become more important in your growth, in your profession. We're talking about not missing your own life. Because in most of the counseling that I've done, and particularly with people who have been in the workplace 10 or 15 or 20 or 25 years, I promise you that this is at the heart of their pain. They have not failed, perhaps, in what they do. They've just failed to enjoy it. And consequently, all these relationships around their lives are not joy-filled relationships. And to go down to that last moment and to be haunted with the thought of all the things that I've done and of all the relationships that I've been in, and yet perhaps to have missed the most important thing of all, which is to be happy. Now, I'd like to suggest at this point that this really isn't alien to anybody's life. That I believe this view is literally built in to every human life. We just haven't minded it because our society and our culture may not call attention to it. But it's really joyfulness, the capacity for joy is in the marrow of your bones. It's in your sinew and muscle. Furthermore, I believe that every human being comes with their compass pointing due north. North to joy. I like to talk about due north in Canada. It's better talking about due north in Canada than it is south of the border. Sometimes down there they don't get it. Due north. A human life doesn't come all messed up, does it? Now, we're not getting into sort of the psychological, biological ins and outs of this. I'm talking generally. That human beings, they don't come in the world to destroy. You come in with your compass pointing due north. And one of the first things we watch for on the face of the baby is that little smile. You just come with a smile. You know, there are a couple of words when we look out on a world or we look at a baby. There are a couple of words that are used often. And one of those words is, what a marvel. You know, we look out through the telescope and we look at the stars in Vermont where I live. Right now there's a star right down on the southern horizon that if you pick up a pair of field glasses and look at it, it's 1,000,000 colors. It's a rainbow. And you marvel at that. Or you pick up a microscope and you look at the cellular structure and you say, what a marvel that is. The other word that we use is, it's a miracle. You know, how many times you look at a newborn and you say, that's a miracle. You know all the processes that brought that child into the world. You can describe many of them, but when the child is held, it's a miracle. Now, the word miracle And the word marvel comes from the same ancient root word. And you know what that word means? That which signifies a smile. That which signifies a smile. Behind the marvel, behind the miracle, is that which signifies a smile. That's the world that I want to live in. That's the relationship with the baby. That's the relationship with other human beings that I most want. I want behind all the ups and downs of these possibilities, there to be a smile. And if the smile is there, then everything can work. Now, so that we come with joyfulness, we come with wisdom built in, we come with our compass going due north, and it's only when we get over to certain magnetic fields that our compass and we lose our way. Put another way, the philosopher Nozick, who's written a wonderful book entitled The Examined Life, toward the end of that book, he gives a model for a human being. And I think you might like this model. He says that if you assigned 100 points to being a human being, you would assign 50 of those 100 points just for being alive. Just for being alive. In other words, for waking up in the morning, you start out with 50 points. Secondly, he said, you assign another 30 points for being alive and human. Now you've got 80 points. Not bad, because you haven't done anything yet. 50 points for being alive, 30 more for being human. Then he said, you assign 10 more points for being reasonably good at something. You can work and sort of get through your day, make ends meet. Now you have 90 points. And that leaves only 10 remaining points that you have to kind of figure out on a day-by-day basis. And his suggestion is that we spend almost all of our time on the last 10 points and give almost no time to the first 90. And then we wonder why we're sometimes miserable. And his suggestion was that if we spent more time thinking about what it means to be alive, what it means to be alive and human, and what it means to be alive and human and functioning at least at some level of effectiveness. If I spent my time appreciating, enjoying, and rejoicing in that, then it would put in perspective those things that tend to dominate my agenda every day. Now, when we talk about joy, when we talk about getting along with ourselves and others, when we talk about getting the most out of our work and being good at what we do, the thing that will more than likely or most readily derail the entire process is in my efforts to get to those things, I forget myself. I forget what's most important about my life. And I forget what I want to be most true on the very last day of my life. Now what I've done is I have suddenly infused and enhanced everything imaginable. Someone said, and with this we'll take a break. Someone said that the original sin of parents, of lovers, of people in the workplace, of mere mortals, is the sin of forgetting to be fun to be with.
If you liked today's program and you'd like to hear more, then we encourage you to subscribe and comment wherever you receive your podcast material. This podcast is made possible by Friends of Heartbeat, who invite you to visit the website thisisheartbeat.com for more information about materials available through Landon's work. And until our next episode, this is Heartbeat, the podcast.